Right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be talking about Stipe Miocic and Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones. I suppose we'll talk a little bit about Jon Jones. So it's crazy. The situation in the heavyweight division is absolutely crazy. So you've got Tom Aspinall. A lot of people in the comment section have been reading them, but just can't reply because they don't have the time. But I will reply to your messages and your comments. Don't worry about that. A lot of people are saying, like I made a comment the other day in a video saying, it was actually yesterday, I said, look, if the Jon Jones Stipe Miocic fight, if that's a retirement fight for both Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic, then that means Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion right now. He's not the interim champ. He is the heavyweight champ. I get technically he would still be the interim champ, but logically speaking, if Jon Jones and Stipe is going to retire once they fight, two guys are going to put their gloves into the octagon and walk away from the sport, then what you have now, Tom Aspinall has become the heavyweight champion without even throwing a punch at Stipe or Jon Jones. That's not hard to work out. That's not it's not rocket science to know that, well, if it's eventually going to happen and Tom Aspinall doesn't even need to throw a punch at any of these guys and he's just waiting for these two guys to retire to have that fight whenever Jon Jones gets better, then he's already the heavyweight champ, and then he can go fight one of these other guys that are calling him out, and that will then be the real defense of the heavyweight belt. I get what you're saying, though, that, if he doesn't beat Jon Jones, then he's not the heavyweight champion. But has Jon Jones, is his intention here to fight Tom Aspinall? Jon Jones is going to be out for a year, guys. He's got a pec issue. He tore his pec, and he's going to be out for a solid year. That's at the least. They're saying 8 months. I'm saying a year, and I'm saying a year at the least, because what happens if he pulls it again? What happens if he gets injured again? That's him getting back to full recovery, and then he has to start his training camp. So it could be over a year. So what's the solution to this? Well, you've got Stipe Miocic, who isn't injured. He's ready to fight. He's been off for a good while. Why do you not book Tom Aspinall versus Stipe Miocic? I'm listening to you. I'm hearing what you are saying. You are saying I don't even care about Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones. I'm telling you, I'm a hardcore fan. I've been following Jon Jones since the start. I've been following Stipe Miocic from the start. I want to see Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic, but I get where yours are coming from, because I also want to see Tom Aspinall versus Jones, Tom Aspinall versus Miocic. Do we really need a belt for the Jon Jones Miocic fight? It seems like they're just using that fight as a platform for one of these guys to retire, or both of them to retire. If Stipe wants to use that fight as a retirement fight, he doesn't need a belt for it. He doesn't need a belt. You don't need a belt for that. So what you could do is you could book Tom Aspinall versus Stipe Miocic. Have that fight. If Stipe wins, he wins. Good, great. If Tom Aspinall wins, good, great. But that, to me, makes more sense. Now, obviously, it makes more sense for Tom Aspinall to fight Jon Jones. But as we say, Jon Jones is out for a long while here. Stipe can't be sitting about for another year. Time is of the essence here, my friends. So why are we having Stipe Miocic just sitting about doing nothing? Book Tom Aspinall versus Stipe Miocic. Jon Jones fights the winner. It's not his fault he's injured. That's what I'm bringing to the table here. Tom Aspinall versus Stipe Miocic. There you go. That's it. That's the fight that needs to be booked ASAP. That's a great fight for Tom Aspinall to solidify himself and say, look, I'm not the interim champ here. I am the champion. Yeah, I've got this little interim belt that maybe you don't recognize as a proper champion's belt, but I'm telling you now, I'm going to run through the whole division. And no fight should be left in the corner. He should fight everybody. Everybody that's in that division right now. I don't care if they're ranked 7th. He should fight every single person in that division. I think Tom Aspinall has the ability to beat Jon Jones. I think he will beat Stipe Miocic if that fight is made. And I think he will go on to beat Jon Jones. Just my opinion. For the reason, to back up my opinion, because I think Jon Jones has had his day. I don't want to contradict him like contradict myself to what I said in my last video, saying like we can't sleep on Jon Jones. You know, he's the greatest of all time. Even if Tom Aspinall beats Jon Jones is still the GOAT because of what he has done in MMA. He will always be the GOAT unless somebody surpasses him, like Tom Aspinall, which I think he can do. I think Tom Aspinall has the ability to have multiple title defenses in the UFC, win them, and solidify himself as the GOAT in years to come. If he has the right structure, if he does things correctly, if he does, you know, if he puts his mind to it, I think he has that ability. Now, the UFC need to book Stipe Miocic versus Tom Aspinall. That is the fight. Maybe Stipe will refuse that fight, saying, I want to fight Jon Jones first. I don't want to lose. He'll be thinking to himself, I don't want to lose to a killer like Tom Aspinall and throw a spanner into the works with this Jon Jones fight. What the UFC should do is go, look, we understand he's a killer. We understand he's up and coming. We understand that, you know, this guy has got the capabilities to fucking end your career. But what we are going to do is no matter what happens in that fight, you and Jon Jones are always going to fight. But to counter what I've just said, if Tom Aspinall goes in here and beats Stipe Miocic inside a round, a couple of minutes, will we want to see the Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic fight? Probably not. So this is like a chess game that's happening right now. But for the fans, what I want to see Tom Aspinall active. He's not getting a lot of time in that octagon, so that means he's fresh for sort of back-to-back fights, which is fantastic. But Stipe needs to fight here. We can have Tom Aspinall versus Stipe Miocic. We could have that in January. We could have that. I know that I think all the cards are booked up, but realistically speaking here, we could have that in January. Stipe's ready to go. Tom Aspinall's fresh. The only person that's holding up things is Jon Jones with his pectoral issue. And I get that. We can't sleep on Jon Jones, but the heavyweight division must go on. So there you go. Book it. Tom Aspinall versus Stipe Miocic. That's the fight to make.